Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. A Ripple software engineer has warned that Bitcoin may go extinct if something doesn't change for it, frankly. And look, this is a fun topic of conversation as far as I'm concerned. I've been vocal about this. I'm not certain of any winner in the crypto space. There's so many Bitcoin maximalists out there as like, yes, Bitcoin will be here, fast forward 100 years, this or that. I don't know if that's the case. You could say that about XRP too. Look, I am Mr. Bull XRP, but damn, I don't pretend to have like that sort of like future knowledge. That's absurd. And I can appreciate confidence, so don't misunderstand. Like, I have confidence. I am long-term, yes, on a scale of 1 to 10, 2 thumbs up for XRP, and certainly crypto in general as well. But my gosh, can we just acknowledge that we don't know everything? Can that just be okay? Can we step outside of our little crypto tribes and just be like, yeah, there is uncertainty. Here's my uncertainty. Can we just be humans and acknowledge that we have that? And for this particular Ripple employee, the answer is yes, and I respect it. It's something I've been talking about on this channel for the longest damn time. Look, to be clear, I'm pro Bitcoin. I'm long Bitcoin at the moment. And I don't know for sure if it's going to be here in 100 years. But either way, look, I have some serious questions about what the hell is going on. I really do. And as pro XRP as I am, I still have some serious questions about the long-term viability of not just XRP, but any cryptocurrency. And my perspective, the good thing about XRP specifically is it's being used in enterprise-grade software. It's oh my god, it's one of the most liquid cryptocurrencies on the entire planet. It's blazing fast, right? Each transaction, fractions of a penny, uses almost no energy. There's so many good things to say about it here. It's just like, what I'm trying to say is like, I want to foster open, honest communication where it's okay to say, I don't know, and here's something that I like that seems very compelling right now, but I don't know for sure. That's what I want. That is what I want. And I feel very strongly about the long-term viability of XRP right now, but I don't know for sure. Why isn't that just okay to say about anything? Right? Jesus, I'm not marrying any of these ideas. Jeez, like whatever I feel confident about, no matter how strong, show me a compelling argument against it. If I find it significantly compelling, then yeah, I no longer believe that. And it's not like I choose that. It's like you don't choose what you believe. Either you find something compelling or you don't. But so many people have trouble with this freaking simple concept here. So look, I mapped out this video like much earlier today. And so it's not all fresh on my mind at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run across the few tabs I set up, and I'm assuming that it's going to strike me more or less the same way as it did earlier when I first read this stuff. And I want to talk about this because it's a fun, like all of these things, frankly, fun topics of conversation here. And so there's this headline from Cointelegraph titled, "Ether is more popular than Bitcoin in Singapore, new study finds." And by the way, this is the article. Well, it may not be the specific article, but it's the topic that the tweets from this Ripple employee came from. And the Ripple employee in question is Elliot Lee. And I want to read these, and then I'm going to get into the rest of it. So check this out. This is the Ripple employee, and he is here, staff software engineer. And I could not appreciate this openness more genuinely than I'm displaying right here. Here it is, though. He tweeted this out 11 hours ago. "Bitcoin is in trouble." And here's a quote. "Ether is more popular than Bitcoin in Singapore, new study finds. Almost 4 in 5 Singaporean crypto holders own Ether, followed by Bitcoin." End quote. So think about that. What he's citing there, and it was covered in actually, frankly, a number of articles within crypto media within the last 24 hours. But the message is clear, right? There's a certain portion of the world that is more compelled, and it's a substantial portion, by the way. I think, even if it's a small percentage of humans, got to find fine, but it's notable, and it's a percentage of humans more compelled to purchase Ether rather than Bitcoin. Now, I got to ask you, because look, my investment thesis from the very beginning, I've been very vocal about this, is that utility matters and will win the day. While stating that and firmly believing it. It's also the case, I believe, that right now, utility does not sufficiently matter to market speculators. Market speculators determine the price of the digital assets that you buy and sell. They just do. and it's emotion based and this and that and human psychology. It's very messy. Yes, of course it is. That's how this all works right now. But I don't completely hate that. I hate it less than I did a few years ago when I jumped in. I've more come to a place of acceptance. That's what it is. Because these messy markets, and they are very messy markets, this is what we need for humans to vote with their dollars and thoughts and ideas to figure out which cryptocurrencies make sense to have along for the long haul. Without that, without the open markets and open exchange of thoughts and ideas, you can't have any of that, right? But we do have that. And so people are voting with their dollars and their cents. And so by and large, yes, the markets move in tandem, but something like this, you didn't see this 5 years ago, did you? You didn't. You didn't see a story where it's like, is this a chink in the armor? Is that what this is? Because there's a segment, it's a notable segment, small on the global scale, but notable still. I think, subjectively, I think it's notable, that's saying, no, Ether's more interesting. Well, how about that? Now, it doesn't mean that they've got it right. It doesn't mean that Ether's going to be here forever. It doesn't mean that Ether's more important or will be here longer than Bitcoin or anything like that. That's not what that means. But it means that it might be according to them. Or else why are these people voting the way they are voting with their actual fiat currency? Now, that's an interesting idea, isn't it? Because the way that I've been talking about this, it's quite simple. And that, whatever cryptocurrencies are going to be here for the long haul, they're going to be solving problems, right? Which is why it's fun to me to compare what's happening in crypto today to what has happened in the past with the .com boom and bust. With all of these people voting with their dollars. Yes, they were voting with their dollars, but what happened? And this is just in the United States, mind you, but hell, we had a $6 trillion bubble. Absurd bubble. And what happened at the peak? Well, it popped and it deflated, and the vast majority of those companies that were .com companies, they went away, right? But it didn't mean that there wasn't something to the internet. Of course, money poured into those companies that, even after the deflation, that made sense. At least the people thought made sense. And so then after that, what did you have? Like Facebook, that was after the bubble burst, right? What about Uber? That was after the bubble burst, and Lyft, or just pick your company. All sorts of companies, right? And so eventually humans did figure it out. It was absolutely the case that value matters. And we're talking about value. We're talking about solving a real world problem. That is what we're actually functionally talking about here. But it wasn't clear in the early days. And so you had to have this messy environment where people are throwing money into everything. And yeah, it sounds stupid, especially in hindsight. But let people do what they want to do. Give them the freedom to be smart or be idiots or both. Sometimes not at the same time. And let them do it, though. And that is what happened. And that's what's happening now. That's exactly what is happening right now. And so in this particular case, with the Singaporean crypto holders, they're disagreeing with the masses right there. On a percentage basis, their population compared to others, they're like, "No, you're wrong." Ooh, well, but that's interesting, though, right? Right? So that's an inkling of utility. And this is the way I think everything's going to sway. If you could fast forward decades, whether it's, well, actually not even necessarily, I don't know if we have to wait that long, whether it's half a decade or a few years or a decade or 2 or 3, I don't pretend to know. I don't know. But to me, either way, it seems inevitable. And so that's why I look at XRP and I see, this is one of the first inklings I've ever seen, which is why I had to make a video about this. This is one of the very first indications that, yes, humans are doing exactly what I expected based on how I know humans behave, based on what they did 20 years ago with the .com boom and bust. Utility matters. It doesn't mean they're getting it right here either, by the way. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean just because for me, it's anecdotal. It's anecdotal, fine, individual. It doesn't mean that I'm right about XRP. No, I hope I am. I think it's reasonable to believe what I believe based on everything publicly available to this point. Doesn't mean that the way I want and think things might be in the future will come to pass. But look at how humans behave, right? And so let enough time pass. Might you see, as utility takes hold, especially as businesses increasingly choose which cryptocurrencies are useful to them, might you see increasingly stories like this? Might you? Do you think that the Bitcoin maximalists have it right It's a one-size-fits-all. It's a one-size-fits-all cryptocurrency, which is a stupid concept. Which is why a few times I've joked. It's like, what's that? You have a size 13 sneaker that you need. Yes. You need a size 13 sneaker. Well, here's a size 6. Make it work, bitch. That doesn't work, does it? Of course it doesn't work. Different cryptocurrencies do different things. They have different technical attributes. They have different standings within geopolitical regions. There's so many reasons you're never going to have a one-size-fits-all. And then here you have XRP, which is functionally useful, used in enterprise-grade software, like I say many times. I've said it many times. You got to question at some point, like, is that going to matter to more people in the future? I have to believe the answer is yes. I do believe that. Now, will it be used by more people in the future? That's a different question. That I don't know. Now, if it's not, and we're on the decline, then we got a damn problem for XRP holders, right? But if it's on the incline, and that's, to be clear, this is just me being intellectually honest. I don't know. I'm just optimistic based on the real world adoption. But if it's on the flip side, like, what the hell do you think is going to happen? More usage or less usage? More adoption or less adoption? More businesses using, like, what the hell do you freaking think, right? And so, seeing stories like this, it's like we're finally getting some of the first indications of markets like maturing to a degree in terms of figuring out what makes sense and what doesn't in terms of long-term viability. Like that there, bam. And that's the bigger story that I don't see people talking about. That's it. So, this is a bigger deal than, like, I haven't seen anybody saying it the way that I'm talking about. This is just my own personal opinion, but I'm telling you, like, this is one of the very first indications of a divergence in terms of the way that people are buying and selling cryptocurrencies throughout the world. And it's a small one, but all of it starts small. And eventually, if something becomes particularly obvious, it can become exponentially adopted, right? Fine, super duper. But look at the second tweet that Elliot Lee, this is the Ripple employee Elliot Lee, software developer. Here's the second tweet that he wrote. There's value in being the crypto with the widest base of holders. Bitcoin needs to evolve if it's going to be Facebook and not Friendster. Now, Friendster, I had heard of that. And if you had asked me however long ago, I probably could have roughly said, oh yeah, I think it's this or that. So much time had passed and it's so obscure that I didn't recall, and I actually did have to look into it. And I was like, Friendster, that sounds very familiar. What the hell is it? So I looked up, I Googled whatever I Googled, and I came across this article from Wired.com. This is from February 27th, 2013, titled, The Friendster Autopsy. How a social network dies. Now, this is interesting, my friends. Check this out. I want to cover part of this. What kills a social network? A group of internet archaeologists have picked over the digital bones of Friendster, the pioneering social networking site that drowned in Facebook's wake. And we now have a clearer picture of its epic collapse. Friendster was once the hottest thing in social networking. Google wanted to buy it for $30 million back in 2003, but, burdened by technical glitches and a more nimble competitor in Facebook, it was pretty much dead in the United States by 2006. Now, that said, it trudged along for a few more years, helped by a relatively strong following in Southeast Asia. Then, around 2009, a site redesign crushed it. Now, pause there. You gotta feel a little bit sad for the people here. A site redesigned, clearly designed to turn this around, make it actually more, adopted to whatever scale, globally, whatever the hell their ambitions were. The redesign, the intent clearly being to fix it, ruined it. The redesign killed it. Yikes. Piece continues. It ended up being a kind of controlled demolition, with weakly connected chains of friends quickly disintegrating, says David Garcia, a professor with the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology and one of the authors of a recent paper analyzing Friendster's demise, just before Friendster relaunched itself as a gaming site in 2011. The Internet Archive crawled the dead network, grabbing a snapshot. Garcia and his fellow researchers used that snapshot of that controlled demolition as the basis for their research, which they describe as both a work of internet archaeology and an autopsy. What they found was that by 2009, Friendster still had tens of millions of users, but the bonds linking the network weren't particularly strong. Many of the users weren't connected to a lot of other members, and the people they had befriended came with just a handful of their own connections. So they ended up being so loosely affiliated with the network that the burden of dealing with a new user interface just wasn't worth it. And so look, I'm not saying that Bitcoin, or any cryptocurrency actually, is absolutely analogous with what's happening in this particular example that's on your screen right here that I've been talking about here. It doesn't mean it's exactly the same. That's not the point that I'm making. That is not the point that I'm making. What I'm saying is you can have something that is largely adopted to one degree or another, and it ultimately does actually fail. Now, in the case of Bitcoin, the network effects, it's just like people are just buying Bitcoin, and yeah, they're trading it. Other than them trading amongst each other, like by and large, it's not being used. So it's mostly just going into cold storage. So it's more like the network effects of Friendster. Like, does it matter as much like the network effects of Bitcoin? Well, if it's not functionally getting used and everybody's just hoarding it and holding it and that's it, well then no. The network effects of Friendster, like the viability of Friendster was more reliant upon actual adoption of usage like than Bitcoin, arguably, right? That's an interesting thing to think about, I suppose. But with Bitcoin, so a number of ways you can like proceed down this path. Okay, well, and I've talked about this before, like if you're talking about long-term viability, yes, of course, usage, utility, yeah. But I've also said that first mover matters. You know, I've said that in addition to utility mattering and I think ultimately winning the day, standards do matter, and I acknowledge that. So it could be the case, I'm not convinced of this, but it could be the case that simply because Bitcoin was the first, it's the least technologically impressive, but damn, it did something amazing first, right? I acknowledge that. And, you know, humans do value standards. You know, when there's a standard in place, humans don't just abandon it for something that is marginally better. So, there's a lot of ways you can slice and dice this. You know, there really are a lot of ways here. But in terms of something hitting extinction, look, I just got to tell you, bottom line for me is those cryptocurrencies that solve the biggest problems will have the most money flow into them. I firmly believe that. And so if Bitcoin, if it's going to stay number one in market cap or even exist in perpetuity, then it'll have to be the case. It'll have to be the case that humans have decided that just being there first matters sufficiently. Maybe that'll happen. I'm skeptical, but it could be. And also, it's important that be such a substantial problem that's being solved. Just the idea of having a digital asset. We're talking about decentralized cryptocurrency. Obviously no counterparty to say you can or cannot participate. It's not centralized, and that is the case with Bitcoin. Like that has to be so much better than gold. And I think that idea is sufficiently better than gold, but it has to be. It has to be so strong, not just like in general, but specifically with Bitcoin. It has to be. If it's going to be number one in market cap forever, like I feel like that seems more. I say has to be. That just I didn't literally mean. It means that seems more probable is what I more precisely meant when I was saying those words. More to me, more likely than not, that would need to be the case to be more precise. Right. And so if there are other ideas, other problems out there that are being solved with other cryptocurrencies, and those are bigger problems needing to be solved, and more money flows into those, it doesn't stand reason that Bitcoin, even if those other qualifiers that I set were proven to be the case, in terms of it's not going away, that would have to be solving a bigger problem than any other cryptocurrency could possibly solve. Now, to me, that's a really big hurdle. That is a gigantic freaking hurdle. I don't know for sure what's going to happen. I don't pretend to, but these are things that are worth talking about. And to all the Bitcoin maxis out there that say, no, it's settled, that's it, it's been tested, it's done, and I say no. I say no, it's not sufficiently tested. I say it's not done. I say it's been heavily tested, and one of the most important hurdles that you could possibly have it tested against would be this idea of existing in a world where utility has taken hold, and we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that. And so whatever the biggest problem is that you could possibly solve with crypto, that's where most money's going to flow. I believe that firmly. Then you got to ask, okay, so how many coins will end up falling into the category where the most money flows? Don't know. I don't know the answer to any of that, but like people are like so many people, they're just so tribal about it. They're not intellectually open about this stuff. I don't like it because guys, you know, I love XRP. This is an XRP-centric channel, but it's for legit reasons. I'm going to tell you right now, if ever in the future I don't believe that XRP is viable, I'm not going to stop running the channel. I'm going to stop saying that I believe XRP is viable. I'm just going to freaking tell you. But I do believe, like, it is my favorite cryptocurrency right now for so many reasons, and it's being adopted in an incredible way. I'm so optimistic for the future, but I got to tell you right now, if ever I'm not convinced of that, I'm not just going to be some stupid freaking cheerleader on YouTube pretending like that's the case. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be tribal like that. And that may turn some people off. And if that's the case, that's the case. But I couldn't enjoy running a YouTube channel if I didn't believe that to be the case. Not like that. If I'm like spouting lies and no. But for me to have fun talking about finance-related stuff in crypto, I don't need that to be the case. It just happens to be the case, and that is what I find the most interesting, compelling, and likely to be true. That's what I find likely to be the actual case. So that's probably a good point to stop, but I just think it's a fun topic of conversation. I know, I just said a lot, I unpacked a lot, but this is the type of stuff I'm constantly thinking about all day, every day. And I think it's so fun to think through. This is the reason I have so much fun running the YouTube channel and hearing back from all of you. But tell me what you think I got right. Tell me what you think I got wrong. As long as you're tactful, I love hearing opinions that are different than me. I don't get offended by anybody challenging my ideas. If you tell me you're challenging my idea, I respect you. If you are doing that in conjunction with being rude, then I don't. That's pretty much it, right? Not that hard to understand. But no, it's so fun to talk about this stuff. So let me know what you think. But Elliot Lear, I'm just like, damn, he's hitting the nail on the head. He wasn't even like propping up XRP. That was not the intent. He's just speaking openly and honestly. And I just feel like how many people in the Bitcoin community would just like not be willing to engage so intellectually honest? How many would come after him and just attack and attack and attack? And I'd say probably, I don't know what the number would be, but probably a lot. Not me though. I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, this is the way I look at it. I'm not convinced of anything, but these are reasonable questions. That's pretty much it. That's me in a nutshell. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.